Alright, so right here, I'm gonna quickly record how to change the rotor and the brake pads in a 2009 Camry. Um, Obviously, I went ahead, took off the tire, and I sprayed uh, was that penetrating oil, because I don't know what size bolts I need to pop off the rotor from here, but this has been working to just loosen it up and just bang it with a hammer. But you'll see when I get to that. And all you'll really need is what's this? Is a size 14 and a size what size is this? Size 17 socket, and of course the clamp, and a screwdriver flathead comes in handy, and you know, brake cleaner, hammer to bang shit out, and of course the new rotor and brake pads. And it also doesn't hurt to have a couple of wrenches lying around just in case. Now, I already did the other brakes, but I figured, somebody out there has got to be wondering, oh, how do I do my brakes? And guess I just make a quick video of it. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so let's get started. Yeah, hold that. Okay, so first we're gonna start with up here. I'm gonna take this off, back it up a little bit, just back up, not too close. All right, so yeah, we'll start here by removing the caliper. That's the top bolt, one, should put it here, and then there's one in the bottom. Oh shit. Oh, okay, you know what? Probably should have took off the bottom one first. Ah! So just leave that there till you loosen up the bottom one. Tight. Okay, so these are your caliper bolts. Put those to the side. You can take off your caliper. Oh, this is on tight. And just put this to the side. I like to hang it up here, but I recommend use a bungee cord or something solid to make sure this doesn't just fall and smash your fingers. Okay, so now these guide pins feel a little stiff, so what I like to do is pop them out and lubricate them. So let me just half-ass pop them out, and then let me take off this bracket. For the bracket, you'll need that 17 millimeter I was talking about. That's why it's on a bigger, it's on my torque wrench, but it's bigger for the leverage, because these things are tight. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Alright, so now I'm going to try a different approach, because I don't want to hit my torque wrench with a hammer. So I'm going to use a breaker bar with a 17. It's a deep socket, but it shouldn't make a difference. since these bolts want to be difficult. There we go. Okay, that's broken loose. Now the bottom one. Okay, so now that that's broken loose, I have to do that. I'll go back to the socket wrench, take the rest of it out. This one, I'm gonna take it out all the way. Just a second. Oh, there goes one brake pad. Guess I could have loosened that one a little more. Here's bolt number 1 for the bracket. And bolt number 2. Now try to keep the bolts together, you know, make sure you don't lose them, keep them close by. Now this is the bracket. One of the brake pads fell off, and that's right here. Now something you got to be careful of not to lose, because sometimes when you buy brake pads you don't get all the hardware. It doesn't come with the hardware, and by hardware I mean these little springs. These little springs. These go on the brake pads, and they kind of like, you know, bounce them back when you're not pressing the brake. But you know, don't lose these either. Put these with the bolts. Make sure you don't lose them. And I guess this one didn't have a clip on it. Usually they have a clip on the end, one end or the other, to where they go. This one did not, so I'm not going to worry about this. And what about this one? This one also did not have a clip, so I mean, I guess we could still make it work. Just a little disappointing that the clips are missing, but anyway. So these are, can you see the, yeah. These are the guide pins I was talking about. These sometimes get dirty, or I guess get torqued in there when they start getting stuck or seized or whatever, or just from, you know, from old age, the grease just dries up. So and if you have a little pick tool, pick out the old grease. Where's my grease? Here it is. Alright, so what I like to do is, I like to dip the pin in there and just, get it in there. Swivel it around a bit, get messy with it. Inside, of course. You don't want grease going all over the place. Now just make sure it slides. See, that's what we want. We just want it to, glide. I'm just gonna put a little bit more in there, just cause, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Leave it at that. Get that bushing back up on there. Good. Now we do the same thing to this one. Just wipe it down. Doesn't seem too crazy bad. I mean, it's a little rusty there, but fuck it. I'm gonna use it. Feel free to get new guide pins if you want to. They're not expensive. They're like 13, 15 bucks. So if you have bad guide pins, don't worry, they're not expensive. So we get that in there. And that's it. See, this one's already pushing out and shit. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's good. So, let me just change my gloves because I don't want to get grease on the brake pads and shit. Actually, wait, hold on. Let me put this to the side. And let's try to get this rotor off. Now, as I had mentioned before, I had sprayed penetrating oil because I don't have the bolts that go on here that as you screw in pops the rotor off. So I'm just give it a shot with this. Okay, so my orange mallet wasn't doing the trick, so maybe if I go to town with it with this one, it'll pop off. Son of a bitch. Yeah. So anyway, the orange mallet wasn't doing the trick, so I'm gonna try to go to town with this hammer. Now, if you're gonna reuse the rotor and just change your brake pads, I don't suggest. Obviously, you're not gonna try to hit it, and you wouldn't even be doing this. But I have a new rotor, so I don't care if I fuck this one up. Shit. This one's starting to move. That's what I was talking about. Using a bungee cord or something to hold it in place. Ouch. There we go. Son of a bitch. Alright. So I'm gonna put this to the side over here. And clearly that's the old rotor. This is the new one. I will change my gloves before I touch that one. Alright, so since this is a brand new brake caliper, rotor, you know, it comes coated with like a light film of oil and shit. So yeah, we gotta spray it down with brake fluid. Wipe that down real quick. Take this. Wipe the other side back down real quick. Alright, we're good. Now, real quick before I push this piston back in, I'm just gonna spray off any debris. And what I like to do when I push the piston in, alright, so what I like to do is I like to start bleeding out the caliper. So what I do is, which one am I gonna have? Is it this one? Yeah, it's that one. Okay. I probably just had a shitload of air in, but I like to do this. That way. Okay. Where's the brake pad? Oh, I got one here. Leslie, give me the Gatorade thingy. Alright, this is just where I collect the dirty brake fluid. So anyway, put the hose in there. And I use the brake pad and the clamp. Alright, so that's there. So we have a hold. So what I do is I loosen the nipple and I squeeze the caliper in. So as I squeeze it in, the dirty brake fluid, you know, starts getting pumped out. It's at 5%. That's fine. Alright, so once that sleeve is in, just tighten this back up. But not too tight because you didn't want to fuck it up. Take the clamp off. Put that there. Oh shit, did I bend this? Ah, okay, that's fine. Now, I'm gonna start putting everything back together. Now, normally I would advise to use anti-seize, but I don't have anti-seize. So I'm just gonna put a dab of grease around here so that it won't give me such a hard time the next time I go take the rotor off. Like I said, I'm sure they make something for this, but I'm using brake grease. It's not recommended, I guess, but you don't have to be. So now I reach for the new brake rotor. Put that motherfucker on. Now it's gonna be loose because it's not on. And that part, what I said, probably didn't make sense, but it makes sense. So yeah, so now we take the new brake pad. Take the new brake pads. And what I'm going to do, so this goes like this. Okay, so the brake pads go like that. Like that, okay. Also, I recommend, you know, putting a little brake grease right there where the, oh shit. Be careful not to get any on the pad, obviously. I'm just in a bit of a rush. But yeah, just get some on there just so they can slide back and forth. Let's see. Go my nails. So this one, okay, yeah. So you just slide it on. Slide it on. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then do the same thing to the other one. I'll bring this over here. Fuck. Don't want to make a mess, but I'm making a mess. Anyway, just dab it. So that, you know, it'll slide back and forth. And back and forth and forth. And put this on the other side. But okay. Damn it. There we go. And I saw I got some grease on that shit, so I'm gonna spray that motherfucker down. Not trying to die. Not today, anyway. So then this just gets bolted back on here. Oh, don't worry about that. That's okay. Just pull the brake out a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, so that's there. And then just bolt the bracket back on. Alright, so once you have your rotor on and the brake pads in the bracket, you can actually put them on afterwards. First put on the bracket, then the brake pads, but I don't know. I work backwards sometimes, I guess. So just start bolting the bracket back on. Don't worry about this being loose. It'll hold in place once you put the bracket and the tire back on. So Yeah. So that's on. Take the other bolt and just put the bottom part of the bracket back on. Out the way. So now just tighten the bracket and you're pretty much home free. Okay. This wire's sticking in my face. Now that that's tight, I remember how tight they were, so I'm just gonna make sure that I have it really tight. And just so that you can see what it is that I'm bolting, it's just the bracket bolts. That's one and that's the other. It's just two bracket bolts that hold it in place. Okay. Okay. So now you just finish squeezing the brake pads together and you're pretty much almost done. Just squeeze the brake pads together, and now we go back to these pins. Remember I said don't lose them because you're gonna need them. These pins basically go in these little holes on the brake pad, those holes, and what they do is they basically spring your brake pads apart while you're not pressing the brake. So you just gotta put that on in there. Oh shit. Oh, these got a lot of spring in them. God damn. This is gonna be a little tricky. Alright. Put that there. Put those in there. Alright. Come on this side. Can you see? Can you see the springs?
Yeah.
Give me. Alright, well, this is what it should look like. And yes, I'm holding it in place because they will pop out. So I gotta finesse the caliper back on here without the pins popping out and the brake pads falling out of place. So let's see how this goes. So that's in there. Come on this side if you want to see it better. Oh, okay. That wasn't so bad. Okay. Alright. The hose is not a big deal. So once that bolt's in there, get the second bolt and bolt the bottom half. Ah, fuck.
You can't curse.
I can curse.
You're gonna get demonetized.
Yeah. Alright, so now those bolts are in. Let me change these gloves. Now that those bolts are in. Where's mine? Oh, no, it's not. We go back to our 14mm socket. And tighten it up. You see that?
Yeah.
Well, the fuck? Yeah. Righty, tighty, lefty, loosey. Okay. Now, as in tightening anything else, don't just tighten one and then go the other one. Just get it semi-tight, go down to the bottom one, get that semi-tight, and then, you know, tighten them up together, because you don't want to have it uneven or torque out or something. Okay. Now these I will leave like this because it's kind of a moving part. Okay. Alright, so the bolts I was tightening just now are this bolt right here, this one, and this one right here. See if I could get it to focus. This one. Anyway, I mean, I guess if you want, before you start this, you could turn your wheel for better access. I just, you know, done the other ones real quick, so I just did it. But now this is pretty much done. Thank you. This is pretty much done. All that's left to do is bleed the caliper, make sure there's no bubbles in it. But I'm just gonna get this dirty brake fluid out of there as I bleed it. So I'm pretty sure you don't need to see that process. But yeah, like I said, this is pretty much done. The brakes are in, brake pads are in, the springs are in, the bracket is on tight, the caliper's back on, everything's good. Now the last process is to bleed the caliper and put your tire back on. Like I said, don't worry about this being a little wobbly, because once you put your tire back on, it'll push it in place, so you're good. And I hope this helps anybody that needs the help. If you're looking for this, then, you know, I hope this helped you out.